Morning to you. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Wncr-Tv Now, where we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation on this Thursday morning. 26 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour this morning. And yep, I'm a little late. A little late. A whole lot late. What about that? Let's see if I can share the Facebook Live video this morning. You too can do the same by going to Facebook.com, going to Wncr-TV Facebook page, and clicking on share. Woo! Let me see. Oh, yeah, I want to talk about that too, but there it is. I just saw it. Man, I just saw it. Oh, well. There it is. Come on. All right, got that. Hey, don't forget to check out Pop's Diner today from 11 to 6. Open every day, Sunday through to Friday. Closed on Saturdays. Downtown Rocky Mount, 132 South Church Street in downtown Rocky Mount. And I will talk about that too. So let me see. What else we'll be talking about? Okay, where is the thing at? Where is? So this was immediate release. There we go. So this came out a couple of days ago. It says that the North Carolina Department of Transportation invested in Rocky Mount's future with a $3 million grant for Raleigh to Rocky Mount commuter bus startup. So it says Rocky Mount is accelerating towards a new era of regional connectivity and economic growth thanks to a $3 million grant from the North Carolina Department of Transportation to launch a commuter bus system linking Rocky Mount to Raleigh. Strategically located on US 64 corridor and I-95, midway between the Triangle and the coast, Rocky Mount is rapidly emerging as a regional logistics and workforce hub. Key infrastructure investments include the CSX Carolina Connector Intermodal Rail Terminal, and the nearby Kingsborough Business Park, North Carolina's only shovel-ready mega site, has laid the foundation for job creation and long-term prosperity. Additionally, the recent expansion of Rocky Mount Wilson Regional Airport has increased cargo capacity, while elevating the city's profile among employers and site selectors. Yet, as the region prepares to welcome new industries and expand existing business, a vital question remains: how can Rocky Mount make it easy for workers to get there? The question led community leaders, city officials, and transportation advocates to the same solution: launching a commuter bus system between Rocky Mount and Raleigh. This new service will help meet the immediate needs for workforce mobility while laying the groundwork for a broader transition network connecting eastern North Carolina to the state's urban centers, with Rocky Mount as the hub. Community leaders, including members of the Mayor's Office, Rocky Mount Chamber, Rocky Mount Carolina's Gateway Partnership, and the Upper Coastal Plain Council of Governments, and the NCDOT. It is one of the first questions an employer asks when considering Rocky Mount: where will the workers come from? Rocky Mount Mayor Sandy Robertson said it's not uncommon for companies to draw a 60 to 90 mile radius, and that it includes the Triangle. With its new commuter service, we are tapping into a labor pool of more than 3 million people, helping both new and long-term employers fill the job with qualified folks. Oh yeah, I gotta do it today too. The idea gained traction quickly, building on earlier efforts to connect the region in 2020. The Rocky Mount Area Chamber of Commerce spearheaded a similar commuter bus concept to bring Raleigh workers to Rocky Mount following the relocation to the DMV headquarters. Though COVID-19 halted that initiative, the groundwork and research produced and laid a strong foundation for a new plan. So you have $3 million investment there to produce that opportunity to connectivity of Raleigh and Rocky Mount, North Carolina. So that's some good stuff. And let me see here. Where are we? We'll talk about this for a moment too. There it is. Okay. So I'll tell you what I'm gonna do is play these ads real quick and come right back and talk about this.
The trained staff at Promised Land Child Care Center is dedicated to nurturing the growth and development of your children in a safe, caring environment. We are open 24/7 with affordable pricing on full, part-time, and drop-in care. Call Promised Land Child Care today or visit us online to learn more.
ALB Building Company is a full-service general contractor. Big or small, they can handle it all. Renovations, additions, or new construction. Think ALB Building Company. We're available at 919-803-4911. That's 919-803-4911. We're ready to transform your vision into reality. ALB Building Company, 919-803-4911.
Greetings, beloved. I'm Pastor J.T. Worthy of the St. James Missionary Baptist Church of Rocky Mount. Tune in each Saturday morning at 9 a.m. for the word, worship, and witness of the St. James Church in our Great Awakenings broadcast, right here on Wncr-Tv.
1 minute is all it took right there. Thank you so much. And continuing to tune in to Wncr-Tv Now. This is where media released on yesterday a statement regarding the 2023 report on the Pet Connection Center. On July the 23rd, the Nash County received a report from the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Community and Consumer Services detailing several violations identified during a follow-up inspection of the Nash County Pet Connection Center. We take this report seriously and are actively working to address the concerns outlined, building on the corrective steps initiate the following last month's investigation. Veterinary Services. Nash County is in the process of transitioning to a new veterinary service provider. While a final agreement is still pending, several local veterinary offices are currently assisting with temporary care. Staffing progress. The Pet Connection Center is working to address staffing challenges and progress is being made. New part-time kennel staff began today and tomorrow following the approval of these positions at the July the 7th Board of Commissioners meeting. Offers have been extended to several qualified applicants with pending hires for 2 animal control officers positions expected to start in the coming weeks. An offer is expected to be made for the office assistant position today. Additional part-time employees are also providing support, assisting existing staff and volunteers. Policy procedure updates, operational policies and procedures, particularly those concerning the care of sick and injured animals, are currently being updated and implemented to ensure consistent and compassionate care using local vet clinics until on-site veterinary care is secured. Temporary operational changes. Due to the current staffing limitations, the Pet Connection Center is temporarily closed for adoptions and owner surrenders as we prioritize the care of animals already in our facility. We anticipate resuming adoption services as soon as staffing levels allow us to do so. Nash County appreciate the community's continued patience as we work to make improvements to meet the standards of our residents expect our animals to serve. So that is what is there. So again, the Nash County Animal Shelter is closed for new adoptions at this moment. And again, the report that Fighting Crime shared yesterday dealt with, I guess, a dead cat in the cage and some other things that were repeat offenses and of a pop-up visit that the state provided to the animal shelter. So that is some repeated, consistent issues that Nash County is having as relates to its animal control division. I want to say good morning this morning too. Before that runs too far, I want to say good morning to Deborah Gunter, Gwendolyn Swain, James Bullock, Candy Staten, Irma Maxwell, Betty Archambault, Gloria Brake, Reginald Manning, Venice Harris, and Alice Bailey. And I saw Miss Betty Archambault the other day at the Imperial Center as they were having an event with children. I think it's an annual event they have during the summertime. And so there were a lot of kids. I think they said they had over 200 children come to the Imperial Center on that particular day. And they help facilitate, meaning AKAs help facilitate a great day of fun and education and opportunity for young folks. And so when they say there isn't a lot to do, that's kind of subjective depending on how you define a lot. But there are organizations who make commitments to provide things for people to do. Some little known facts and activities in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. So again, good morning to all of you. Good morning to those also who are watching via television, who don't show up on our Facebook page, who may not show up on our YouTube page because you watch via TV. So many people I get to talk to in the community, and then with me again campaigning for office again, so many people I get to invite to the television program as well. So that's always an enjoyable experience too, to continue to build upon those who have the time in the morning or time at their leisure. We're now within 30 days because of the way Facebook policy is. You have about 30 days before your video automatically deletes. I'm sure they'll probably offer some type of storage capacity thereafter to maybe do a 60-day or 90-day storage capacity for those pages who wishes to do such, which is going to be interesting too now that I think about it, because Facebook has made itself available to have those higher volumed viewed programs that they would they would show ads of various businesses, and that's how they monetized the content. And so now with a 30-day window, it might be difficult for some to develop that. Of course, that's nothing that I have ventured into doing. So that's that. But nevertheless, that is what's going on there in Nash County. And of course, you heard what was happening in Rocky Mount as it relates to a $3 million injection for the North Carolina DOT or transportation, same thing, to build a commuter bus system here from Rocky Mount to Raleigh. And so looking forward to seeing that come to fruition as well. So that's always good news too. What else is that? Of course, I saw the video there of the opening of the Indian restaurant in downtown Rocky Mount, formerly the most recently the Chill Spot. Then before that, it was Prime Smokehouse. But they are there now, and they're in the building, and I believe they are open for business. So congratulations to the folk who were involved in making that happen, and hopefully Rocky Mount residents and visitors will enjoy some new dining opportunities in our downtown community as well. Let me see. Did I say good morning, Ray Dodger? If I didn't, it's a double good morning to you, sir. Wale, good morning to you as well as Allison Williams and Evelyn Johnson. Thank you all for tuning in to Wncr-Tv Now, as we continue to talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation this morning. There are so many people in our community who have some fantastic ideas. They have a desire to see community better, and particularly, you're going to hear me talk about now until October the 7th and thereafter, most likely, residents of Ward 3 in particular, and some of the things that they live through, some of the things they're living in, and some of the ideas and things they want to see come to fruition. But as I've talked about on this program before, there are a number of people, not just in Ward 3, but across this country, who feel as though they have nothing to vote for because they see conditions in their community continuing to be the same. And every person who comes knock on their door and ask them for a vote, promising to do this or wanting to do this, and it says nothing ever gets accomplished. And so they say, why am I going to waste my good time to go out and, one, register to vote, then two, go and actually vote when you're going to do nothing? And truthfully, I think that is detrimental to those who truly run with good intentions to do well. However, there are many who run for particular offices who have no clue as to how the process works. One being, you cannot serve in an elected position and is at odds with your colleagues on the particular boards or commissions or congressional seats or whatever it is, that just ain't gonna work. And what happens when you are at odds with that? Whatever party has the most votes ultimately will win, and then you continue to have that wedge between who. In an ideal world, you would think that people would be able to sit down and reason, and I think when you look through the City of Rocky Mount situation of oftentimes unanimous decisions on a lot of the votes that take place in the City Council, that is the spirit of cooperation that one would want to have if you're going to move the city forward. Now, again, some of those things that the City Council is voting on traditionally is dealing with financing and approving this and this, that, and third. And there's really no consistent updates as to where we were, where we're going type situation. So therefore, there is this belief that things aren't happening. And truthfully, in some neighborhoods and communities, it ain't happening. That's just is what it is. It's not happening. And we do need to do more, but you do have to have an advocate who is going to advocate those positions of the folks who are living in the communities, and then get it done, essentially get it done. But that is getting it done by having good relationships with fellow council members to show and demonstrate the need as to why this must be the priority at this particular time. Or can we have twofold priorities that we can give 100% to both? I don't know how possible that is, but it's worth an attempt, because there is some great concern throughout the city in various pockets, but then you also have a heightened level of concern in some direct neighborhoods and communities that can be addressed with the proper groundwork and framework in place to do what needs to be done. Because ultimately, the goal is, and here's what I often hear, because I attend a lot of the meetings. The city will say, we need to increase revenue, one, without increasing property taxes. I hear that from some, and I hear some say increase property taxes. One of the greatest ways one can increase revenue to the city is working expeditiously to get these homes that are blighted, boarded up, abandoned, and forgotten, to bring life to that street, bring life to that neighborhood, so that, one, you have a tax-paying individual who is in that home. You now have a utility customer who is in that home. You now are bringing life and new energy in that community. And hopefully you're going to help bring up property values throughout the neighborhood. So therefore, people who are making investments in homes, they're getting a great return on investment. So if you want to raise revenue and generate new revenue, it's there are things right here at our doorstep. There are things right here on our road, right here on our street, right here in our communities, in which we could do with all deliberate speed to help increase revenue to our community and to our city, to be able to do and provide the necessary services and grow the community like never before. But the reason why there's some pockets of missed opportunity is just that. There are pockets of missed opportunity because we're not putting together the framework. And at one time, I thought the city was coming close to developing some portion of framework when they talked about the land trust and dealing with some housing situation and eradicating some of the blight, looking at a child care facility and all these other kind of things that Dr. Jim Johnson had spoke about some years ago. And that just went away. And so I don't get how we spent time in kind of going through that process. And if I'm remembering correct, the concern was who was going to be on that community land trust board. How do you be sure that my hand-picked people are there so that it's going to go the way that I want it? You know, if we continue to walk in that path, I think we'll continue to get what we've always received over the years. And the question is, are you satisfied with what you're receiving? There could be some people say, I am 100% happy with the current status of my community. But you're going to have, I think, a larger volume of people who are going to say, I am dissatisfied with the current status of my community, but appreciative, but at the same time dissatisfied because I believe we can do more. I believe we can build better. And those oftentimes are the people that I run into as we are navigating through Ward 3 in particular, who really want to see things change. And not just a hope, dream, and a prayer, not just lip service, but truly want to see it. And I often tell people this, that it is not a Bronson Williams plan. It must be a community-driven plan as to what we want to see neighborhoods look like through revitalization. It cannot be a dictation through one individual say, you're going to get this, because I know what that feels like, especially to a community. You know, some years ago, or a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, there were a number of people at the church on Old Wilson Road who said, we don't want this new business in our community. We don't want it because it's going to have an impact on our grocery store. It's going to have an impact on our current commercial enterprising that's happening on Cokie Road. And it was shoved down the throats of people. And I go to meetings and people are very dissatisfied with how that operation is running. This is not what I think. This is not what somebody told me. This is something that I want to experience. Well, not personal experience, I've vowed not support it. But this is what people who do go in tell me is going on in that particular store. So I'm about to say I don't get it, but I do get it. And that is, if you have a dictator style mindset, you won't be community driven and community focused. And so therefore, you're going to give people what you want them to have versus what they desire and how to truly have their needs met. So that's just me. Good morning also to Marvin Bowden. Lucy Boyer says, unfortunately, we know you live in the ideal world you described. I'm not sure I described an ideal world. I simply talked about how we can make things better. And so I take that from even our former city manager, Charles Penny. And he talked about going from good to great. Understand that there are some great things that is happening in our community, or some good things rather that's happening in our community. And his job as city manager was move it from good to great. And so when he left the city in his retirement, he said, I hope I've accomplished that. And what happens too often is because we hold up current conditions of neglect, because we hold up current conditions of abandonment, because we hold up current conditions of that's just how people are going to live, we become numb to the reality that our community can be better than what it is. We become fixated to the position that this train is only going to go but so far. I hope that, and not even there are a number of folks I talk to who believe there's more than that. There's more hope than what we see right now. More hope is out there than what we see. So it is always challenging to talk about the conditions of our community without someone getting offended or upset about what it is. And I'm a true believer that we just got to change our conditions. We just got to change our conditions. And no, we will never live in a utopic society. As long as people have the opportunity to be people, be free thinkers, we just won't have that right now. If you get into a situation, as one of my classmates from high school talked about, where people become robots and they basically are all synced to the same thing. There's no personality, there's no creativity, there's no this. Then of course you can get to a utopic situation, because that is what people are going to sing from one sheet of music, right? But is that a real utopic society, or is that something orchestrated by those who want it to be? That's the real question. Hey, caller, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bronson.
Good morning.
In talking about neighborhoods, I think we should try to strive to have a block cleanup week. You clean up one block in your neighborhood, and next week you go to another block or month. And I think it would make a lot of neighborhoods look better. I know when I relocated back, and the house that I purchased, people weren't doing anything over here. But when I started to fix up or renovate my property, of course, other people took interest in theirs. So sometimes it just takes one person to start an initiative. And I hope and pray when you become the city council person for Ward 3, you initiate that program. And the city is going to have some input too. I mean, if it's a property that got a lot of junk and stuff around it, they should be able to bring a bin over so you can put the debris in. If it's lawn service that's needed, they should lend out a lawnmower or have somebody to cut the yard. I mean, it takes a village, and we have forgotten that slogan. One person can't do it alone. You have to have a multitude of people to take action sometimes. This is what Martin Luther King strived for. This is what the march was all about. He knew he couldn't do it alone, but when people came and joined him in the march, people took notice. People started listening. Things started to change. So I'm hoping that initiative will get started here in Rocky Mount. Things can be better, but it just don't take citizens. The city itself got to get involved also. Thank you.
Thank you. And there is a program literally called Block by Block, and it's down there in Charlotte. I think Durham is kind of initiating some of it as well. But absolutely, that is something. And I will say this: there were churches like Greater Mount Hermon who will facilitate cleanups in the ward at one time as well, and a lot of things that was happening prior to COVID kind of just didn't get picked back up. But there were a number of opportunities that could continue to do that. And that was, again, one of the questions or statements that were made yesterday. There's a particular gentleman who is living at a house, and was talking about the idea of developing shelters and a place for people to stay and all that kind of stuff. But then in a course of our conversation, we started talking about, well, what about, to that point, having a lending center in place in which one could have access to a lawnmower and provide lawn care for some of the citizens who are in the community as a way to make income and these things. But also get them a situation, if they so desire, all right, because desire is the first piece, to get them in programs or things that will help them with whatever walk of life they're currently in that they may want to rid themselves of. I think that is important as well. Had a good conversation yesterday with a 21-year-old individual who is registered to vote but never voted a day in his life. And again, he too is one of those individuals. Vote for what? Vote for what? Hopefully, yesterday we made a plan for him to update his voter registration, because where he originally voted at or registered at, he's no longer there. He's actually in the ward. And that between now and October 7th, that he would consider voting in this municipal election. And in talking to him, definitely think he has hope and vision for the community. He talked about wanting to build a housing complex, gated community, and all these type of things that he has a vision for. And so when we go out here and say our young black males don't have dreams and aspirations, that's obviously not true, right? And too often we will buy into that narrative, buy into those statistical data points. And so then we start talking about my pet peeve I've had for years about what could happen to that will soon be formerly Judicial Center on Cokie Road, of how we can really make that some type of senior place / resource center in which you have young people interacting with older people, our seasoned citizens with some wisdom and lived experience. And I think that'll be an amazing thing that Rocky Mount could help facilitate, because when you talk about criminal and gang activity, if one could get access to children before they are initiated in the gang process, where they have a support system at home, but also have one even within this space that could be created, I think that it would create a new pipeline to promise versus a pipeline to prison, or a pipeline to the jail, or a pipeline to the morgue, or a pipeline to the funeral home, I guess, at ultimate old gravesite for that matter. That we have some unique powers and abilities that if we really just think back and problem solve versus criticize, but problem solve, I believe, in fact, that first press release that I read today talked about there was a group of people that got together to problem solve about workforce opportunities for those to then create a commuter bus system between Raleigh and Rocky Mount. And so I'm not really on that bandwagon of blame game. I'm really on the bandwagon, have been, I think, for years, that people take time to listen to me. In that, how do we navigate from where we are currently? How do we move the needle forward? And so as I take time throughout the day, and I've been doing this consistently, that is where my ideas are not my ideas, and they're really not my ideas, they're collective ideas of a number of people. So, I wasn't the first person to say Ward 3 or that area needed a resource center. Of course, we talked about Wi-Fi. We looked at it when Councilman Lamont Wiggins was on council, and this is because of some conversation that I and Miss Mary Warren had about children not having access to Wi-Fi in that community. How can they, be strong and productive students when things require internet access? And so we say, oh, this kid ain't doing what they supposed to, but then we fail to realize that every home is not like yours, i.e. every street is not like yours. And so if they don't have the access to the things that are going to enable them to be successful, the only alternative to success is failure. And I would hope that it is desire of many that failure is not an option. The failure is not an option. Will some slip through the crack? Absolutely. We get it. But it should not be for the lack of trying. I call it good morning.
Mr. Bronson, each ward president is allocated $500 a year for things that's needed in their ward. Is that money rollover?
I don't know about $500 a year that each ward is given.
Okay. In talking to the president, the lady that used to be the president, she was saying that it was.
Oh, you talking about those neighborhood associations?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Sure. All right. Okay. I got you now.
Okay. And we haven't had a president over here since, I would say, 2015.
Okay.
But is the money rollover, or you just, if you don't use it, you lose it?
Most time in government financing, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that's true. I just said most time in government financing is if you don't use it, you lose it.
Okay. So if a neighborhood needs a lawnmower to keep properties, lawns cut, can't they buy a lawnmower with that money?
Yeah, that's something we talked about in Southeast Community Neighborhood Meeting one year. And, so in everything they talk about is always going to be about the liability potential. And so they try to figure that whole situation out. That is easier for you to create a subgroup that then maybe that neighborhood association grants that money to, and then that group then buys the lawnmower, for instance, to try to relieve the city of liability. So sure, to your point, I would think so. And if there are rules and policies say that you couldn't, then your council could change those rules, right? Because they set policies. So to your point, absolutely, I think you certainly should be able to do that, and even having some space for some type of shed or something to be able to house those things. I think in Southeast Rocky Mount, there was a resident that was willing to house that type of equipment at their house because they're that committed to city community better. So to your point, absolutely.
Well, like I said, we haven't had a president over here that's been active since 2015, I believe.
Sounds like there's an opportunity for you.
What do we do to get one?
You can talk to Archie. You can talk.
I know, but if another association wants to pick up this down east, can they do that? Like Edgemont?
You could merge into that to expand the territory.
Because both of them are so close together, and they do an excellent job over there. But we just haven't had a representative for nothing, and nobody wants to take over that position.
Well, so again, you could merge, or you could find somebody who wants to take over that position.
Nobody wants to.
Yeah. I get it. That there's, I get it. I hear that same conversation in other neighborhood associated meetings I go to as well. Who's going to be the president, when I'm gone type situation. But I couldn't tell you. I don't. I think again, I'll be talking to Edgemont folk over there, who to you said doing a great job of having a lot of people at meetings consistently and doing things in their community. Would they want to add on? I have no idea, but that's a conversation I guess you could have with the association over there, through in part by Archie, to see about facilitating that. But I can't. What will probably happen is you would then have residents who say, we don't want to merge them, we're our own identity, this, that, and the third. And so there you may find an individual who wants to then spear up that community or neighborhood association again. Well,
Down East Partnership used to plant vegetables for the summer. They're not even doing that now. And, it seems to me that the neighborhood is somewhat going backwards. And I don't understand why.
I guess, is there a sense of community in the neighborhood, or people talking to each other and engaged in?
No, nobody don't come outside. It's too hot, and people just don't want to be bothered. And
but I go down Branch Street. People are outside all day long. I'm pulling up, talking to people.
That's Branch Street. It's a different community. I hate to say it.
Well, people got to come out of their house. I hate to say it, but people got to come out of their house, and that's just what it is. You got to start waving at your neighbor. That wave turn into a hello. The hello start into a conversation. Before you know it, y'all having potlucks again, right? So that's just what it. Let's find some young people to go hit some doors over there in that area and start saying, let's sit on the porch again. Let's start being out in the community, because it's not hot all day long, right?
Younger people over there. And I'm not calling myself old, but it's a different group of people over there. Over here, everybody's a senior citizen.
Well, you said the lady got about 5 children in the houses. There's some young folks over there too. So
look, they in school. They can't do that.
We can start training them up in the way they should go. So when they get over there, won't depart from.
I do have them to clean my yard, and I'll pay them to either take all 6 of them to McDonald's and treat them. But you know.
Yeah, I think there's more young people over there than folk probably realize. I think it's going to be, got to do some door to door and find that one young person willing to, do some door knockers and say, let's come out. Somebody organize a little neighborhood cookout over there, right? And that could be something you could do with the Human Relations Department through Archer. That organization don't exist. Hey, here's a reformation of that organization. We're going to go to
well, you know
that
what?
park.
I'm going to talk to Archer
There
about
you go.
that. We're going to do a block party.
There you go. Have a block party. There you go. And say, at this party, you can have a rent party. We said, we having a president party. We looking for somebody to lead this organization, right? We got hot dogs and hamburgers and some music and some information. That's a perfect time to have it right there at that park. And get Downey's partnership involved in too. They right there in the smack of the community as well.
Yeah, she's not as active as she used to be here in Indiana, honestly.
So there's opportunity. There's opportunity. You got to think about it and work it out. Well, thank you, ma'am. I didn't realize after 9 o'clock. All right, we'll see you next time to do it all over again on WNCR-TV Now as we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation this morning. We certainly appreciate you. Looks like there's a candidate forum scheduled. Now, was this at the? Oh, okay, yeah, it's in Tarboro. So, as a candidates forum scheduled for September the 11th, 2025, at 6 p.m. at the Edgecombe County Administrative Auditorium, hosted by the Edgecombe County Human Relations Commission. So that is going on as well. Pick up trash and not repairing the rundown properties would not improve the neighborhoods, but the caller's right about setting an example. Yeah, absolutely. And so it's a both and. So we talked about it in the early part of the show about dealing with those dilapidated homes and getting site control and all that kind of stuff. And so I think it's possible, and I think we just got to do it. It's sad when young people don't see hope. A lot of surrounding communities don't allow them to see hope. Yep. $500 is not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money yet. That's true too. You have people hold positions who have done nothing tangible in the community many years in front of the community of viable reasons. Yep, that much is true too. And I will say this though, for people who are holding positions for a long time, neighborhood associations or etc., I can probably count how many times I've heard them say, "Who's going to carry on the torch? We need to give this to the next generation, to give it to the next person or whatever." And nobody say, "Hey, I'll do it. I'll do it." That's essentially how I became the precinct chair for 12-2. Nobody wanted to do it. They said, I think Bronson will probably do it. So they called me up. I said, sure, I'll do it there. But, yeah, you do have to have willing people who want to be involved, but also the opportunity must be expressed. And I will say I've heard opportunity expressed from a number of neighborhood associations across this city. As to what does that new leadership look like for the upcoming years, and saying, listen, let me be in a supportive role. We're not going to leave you out there to dry. I'm going to help you through the process, but let's do something. So I get it. Hey, I'll see you tomorrow at some time on WNCR-TV Now as we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. Don't forget Bob's Diner from 11 until 6 o'clock today, and as we have hot dogs, hamburgers, pizza, and all the other good stuff. We had hamburger steak. I'll be forgetting to announce our daily specials, but they're basically consistent every week. So when you get it one week, it's the same thing. So, and as well as true with our Sunday soul food that we love seeing it there. And that is a day you pretty much find me in the diner, and I'm there throughout the day on the weekdays. Sometimes not there at all, but definitely on Sundays I'm pretty much there in the diner from 11 to 6 on Sundays. But we'll see you tomorrow to do it all over again. And no, my bike did not come yesterday. I was so sad, but I had work to do. But it does supposed to come this morning, so we'll see what FedEx do today. Okay, that old Timber.